Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? But the party was nice, the party was pumping. Hey, yeah. And everybody having a ball.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:31. It is July 8th. Wow, we're past July 4th weekend. Starting to get into the nuts and bolts of the summer a little bit, getting close to earnings season. You guys know the drill. Take a look at the disclosure and we'll get to it. All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Scott Redler. I am the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Hopefully everyone's feeling great. Had a great extended July 4th weekend. Always nice when get a few days off midweek and then all of a sudden a weekend comes up. Not because I don't love to be in the office making money, looking for setups, working on my process, but every now and then it's good to have a day extra when the market is actually closed. So we're not like looking at it from the side. But anyway, here we are, new week. You know, earnings season will be starting. The banks happen Thursday, Friday. We have the CPI and the PPI. And last week, probably right around this time, if you were able to identify upper support, you probably had one of your best weeks of the year. And I saw a lot of people from the Alpha team and Redler All Access had their best week out of nowhere. That's what happens sometimes in this business. Sometimes in this business, there's not a lot going on. And then sometimes, boom, 3, 4, 5 setups that you've been watching triggered once. And hopefully you're in a few of them, you know, and you make some really good money. And then you pull back and figure out kind of what's happening next. Let me say a quick hello to some of my dogs around the world. If anyone's tuning in, we do got Space Specialist. We got AC 2000. We got Blair. What up, RKD. We have Jam. We got Sully. We got Jose again. We got Michael. He said he had a great week last week. Congratulations. We got Hungary in the house. We got Austin in the house. We got Mike Pegs on board. By the way, tomorrow I'm going to have 2 young bucks in the studio. I got 2 guys coming in early from college who are doing a day or 2 internship, so it should be fun. It's good to see a lot of interest out there in the market now that people's dads and friends are saying, hey, can I have my son do an internship with you? I'm like, all right, make sure they get up at 4:45 because they got to show up at 6 a.m. sharp. Not a lot of kids these days are waking up that early. But anyway, let's take it real quickly to the chart of the S&P cash. Here is the S&P cash. Here is what we were talking about on, what was it? It was July 2nd, which was, last Tuesday. Could we hold 5446? Will we hold the upper support? And will the fix be in for the holiday? And look at this 3-day move. Wow, that's a nice move. With that move, lots of names that we play, lots of names that a lot of people out there. I'm not going to take all the credit out there because there are a lot of people that focus on the Mag 7, and we've had stocks that go through a little bit of a consolidation period and then bang and go again, and et cetera, and a lot of them happened. So what was my biggest winner last week? My biggest winner, believe it or not, was Apple. You know, everyone, it's Apple. Red Dog went back to his roots. Everyone loves when Apple's in play. You know, and first trade we had was when it broke above this 198, 199, if you remember there at post-event. And then I really, really stayed with this trade as it rebuilt. You know, you had 220.38 there. All of a sudden, came in, built a nice flag. I remember on that day, everyone in the Alpha team could vouch out. We were all buying the 220s, 222.5s as that Friday mechanical was a sell-off due to the fact of the rebound. And then this next day rebuilt it, and lo and behold, 226.45, 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. Unfortunately, the money trade's gone. I have small Apple shares left. I got rid of my 2 sets of my calls. I will not roll into more calls. You know, if we happen to get a bit of a pullback, you know, maybe I'll reset up, but that was a really nice trade. Congratulations to anyone who took it. Congratulations to Apple investors. You can be an investor out there in this world. It actually works. Sometimes people turn into an investor because they don't want to pay taxes and then just get big gains, probably like an Apple or some of these things. But anyway, that was a setup. Another great setup that most people made really good money on was Amazon. And to be honest, Amazon, they threw a little bit of cold water on it. You know, there was some news that Jeff was selling a certain amount of shares. Has nothing to do with Amazon. Okay, he and his ex-wife they did own 20% of the float. Now I think they own 17%, and they register and sell no matter what. So it just so happens that last week he chose to take a tick, which held it back. That's why we didn't get such a move there. Most of these names have had 2, 3, 4-day moves. Amazon did not. So it was funny. On Friday, I came in with a lot more Apple than Amazon. And then I left with a lot less Apple because it went and more Amazon. So let's hope that Amazon takes out this 255. If I were a betting man, which I'm not a betting man, and I don't think that the stock market's a casino, I would think we see at least 202 to 205 this week. That would be really nice for our options, for our stocks. So I still think this has room. It's still set up. It's just a little slower. It's a pain in the butt. Anyway, another trade, okay, that made a lot of people a lot of money that you have to pause with now is probably Tesla. Yes, yes. Sometimes you have to pause. Tesla was my vehicle during the pandemic 2 years ago, every single day, and then it turned into like a no trade. Right around last December, it was like, okay, it's in a downtrend. We got to put it from the A list to the C list. And then right here is when we really hyper focused on it. Okay, I know I had a ton of 192.5 calls on, 195 calls on, even rolled it up to 200. And some people are like, well, Red Dog, you're not as good as you used to be. I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, all I played it to is up to 218-ish. So my play was like 188 to this candle. And I didn't play these three. I didn't. People were rolling them up, and they rolled them up and had a great trade. Congratulations. I don't take money out of your pocket. For me, you don't have to be in every trade, every second of it, etc. And I'm just happy that Tesla will be in the game probably for the entire rest of the year. So we'll have other setups. At this point, Tesla's down 3. It's at 248. It would be nice if Tesla could kind of digest here a little bit. Maybe we could even take this up to there and turn into a nice bull flag, let the 8-day catch up and get another, juicy trade. But when the 8 days down here and you're up 1, 2, 3, 4 up days, you can't sink your teeth into that trade. Anyway, I see my, Todd talking about Palantir. I did buy some Palantir also. It's a totally different trade. This looks like it could still be a nice trade to take out 2750. Okay, a lot of guys were trying to get me in it down here when it took back the moving averages or when this inside wedge broke to the upside. I got in a little late. I got in on this candle, but who cares? It doesn't really matter. But anyway, I also, if you want to go back to the weekly chart, I was probably one of the first ones here. Actually, the monthly chart way back when. I remember playing this here to, the 40s. And then once again, so it doesn't matter when you play it. It matters of, you want to make sure what stage we're in. And there's a lot of talk that Palantir is going to be included in the S&P 500. I don't know when that day is, but, it's up a little bit this morning. So you're getting a little bit of follow through, up 80 cents. No, not so bad, up 2.9%. So make sure to trim some and hold some just in case. A lot of people are talking about a big option play on Thursday. So anyway, it's good to have setups happening at different times. So the semis, if you remember, on June 20th, I basically called the top in the semis, which was a great call. A lot of people made a lot of money short for the first time in a while there. And that was back here on June 20th. I was on with Liz Clayman, and I was titled my nose overheated. And then, that's when money rotated a little bit. And this was it's like 279, came in and rebuilt. Okay, when sectors go through like a rebuilding stage, you want to see what's happening, what's worth playing. You actually could probably raise this up now to here. This low is what? This is 268.05. So let's put that in there. So one of the things that we were talking about in setups are setups. Like obviously NVIDIA was one of the best stocks in the last 6 months, but it got a little overextended, a little overcrowded. So other things did better, even though there was a really one-day good trade last week. Then what's it called? Then NVIDIA last week. We talked about how ARM was showing leadership qualities. If you remember in the 630 Club, we talked about ARM clearing this 118.50 to get back to 164, went to 177. And I was like, listen, guys, ARM just rebuilt. ARM held the 8 and 21 day. If there's going to be a name that makes a new all-time high, it could be ARM. And a lot of guys did very well with that. Different type of trade was AMD. AMD has been very choppy, very back and forth, not a lot of continuity. And then yesterday or Friday, AMD finally, broke out of this channel here. Okay, this channel could definitely have driven you to drink, whatever day of the week it was. But then finally, if you had some options on, sometimes when a stock is going through a consolidation phase, it costs you a little bit of money to go out a week, go out another week, put on some options so you're not hyper focused just in case a move happens that you want to happen when you're not sitting at your desk. So a lot of the guys that I have were all in the 165s, and they were all getting chopped around, and then finally, got paid. And now this came right up to this 174-ish. If you're an AMD stock, what I would do there is you trim some, you're getting some follow through. This is all you could ask for. A nice candle like this breaks above an area, gives you some follow through, and you trim some. Okay, day and a half play. Some people like, Red Dog, what's your specialty? I'm like, well, I like 1 to 3 day moves where I could take 3 to 5% out of the trade. And if you happen to hit it with options, usually you're making 1 to 300% in the same play. You're taking 2 to 5% out of the stock, but it all depends on how you do it. So anyway, here's 174. Where can this get to? This might be able to get up towards 183-ish. So with that being said, it woke back up. So, a lot of guys like Red Dog, will SMCI ever wake up again? I'm like, well, they do a little bit of a different business in the AI world. They pre-announced upside earnings 2 quarters ago, and then when they didn't do that last quarter, everyone got all down on them. So it's been consolidating. So I do think if you feel like this is going to wake up and clear 893, which it might at some point. It was very sloppy though. It looked great, got hit, came down. I would go out to July 19th. This is what I did on Friday. And I bought some $1,000 calls. There's talk that this might go into the NASDAQ 100. There's some talk that it might be, whatever that case may be. It's not showing you a signal that you need to be in this, and it's not acting special yet. Remember we caught that move. So if you think it's going to clear 893 or 972 or 1,000, you kind of want to be in there before it ignites. The options are a little cheaper. So it might work, it might not work. But I bought a feeler on Friday just in case it wakes up and I'm not on my desk. If it wakes up and has huge volume and shows some commitment, I'll get in the stock besides the option. So SMCI is something that you might want to look. TSM is opening up well, Todd. Yes, that was a great call. Todd is my fraternity brother from back in the day. Where would I trim? Actually, I'm not involved in this. I did post the chart many times. 1, 2, 3, a little bit of a doji. There's some news with Apple, I think, today. What's it doing this morning? TSM is up 6. Congratulations. It's opening above the high here. This is 185.08 or 190. I'd be trimming into this. The 8 days here, this would probably have been, you kind of rebuilt, took back the 8-day, add to it, get a little paid, and now you're really getting paid. So I would be trimming there. Some people like, is NVIDIA over? I do not think NVIDIA is over. I think a lot of guys caught a really nice trade. Okay, that was right here, right? That was on Wednesday, and then was it Wednesday? Yeah, and this was Friday. So this little inside candle isn't the end of the world, okay? But NVIDIA is just not, it just became so overcrowded. You can get some trades there. I'm long a little NVIDIA overnight, and I'd like to see it get above this 128.85 at some portion. It just sometimes this is a focus, and sometimes it's not. And right now it's not great, but there are a lot of guys. I remember we went from red to green up 6 and made huge money on Wednesday. Was it Wednesday or was it Tuesday? Last week on July 3rd. Okay, yeah, Wednesday. And then Friday kind of sucked. It was just out of play. All right. So now we'll see what happens if NVIDIA wants to build a little bull flag and continue. That'd be a good trade, for this week. Yeah, Jack. Hey, Jack, my boy Jack came in. Intel. A lot of guys on the Alpha team were like, Red Dog, look at Intel. All right, well, Intel had this lower base, broken. And then, hey, you got a little trade here, and it looks like it's going to fill the gap. So that's just a different setup, not a leadership setup, but a setup. Traders need setups to make a living. And yes, that was a decent setup. What's Intel doing today? We'll see. Oh, look at that, up another $1. Look at you, Jackie. Jack's got a lot of experience out there, and a lot of guys made good money. They're like, oh, the options are real cheap. Well, it's filling this gap. So another trade or a setup. There are a lot of people complaining out there that, oh, there's 14 stocks that are making the S&P go to all-time highs. It's the day of reckoning's coming. It's not going to end well. I'm like, well, if you trade for a living, you have more than enough time to put together your process, your routine, your go-to list, and play or trade those 14 stocks. And if you're not good at that, just buy an S&P fund every single month for 30 years and you don't care what's driving the gains, and you'll retire well. Maybe you'll pay for your kids' college, and you'll build some wealth for your golden years. So you either look and find where the market action is, or you go long term in a 401k and you don't look at the market. And anytime we're down 10 or 20% off the highs, maybe you put a little extra cash flow in, and that's how you create your alpha. Anyway, you know what I'm looking at today, this morning? This CrowdStrike looks pretty good. This is another setup. This is a nice looking setup. Here's a big pro gap. Here's your sideways consolidation. I would think that that this is something that could trigger this week. I might go buy the $400 calls. Let's see what's the stock doing this morning. It's only up $1. I still, maybe you could buy the shares. Some guys are long versus 367. To me, this looks like a pretty good setup. So that's, different sector, not AI semis, not mega cap, but looks like there's something there. Okay, where I'll take a look. I don't have this on right now. I might put it on today a little bit, and then if some volume comes in, I might go a lot. You want me to look at PANW? I haven't been trading this one either, but this is a little different trade. This is in this gap from way back when. I guess it's been filling it. So at this point, this does look like it's a little bit of a bull flag. Some guys asked me to look at it here. So yeah, it's a little sloppy though. Look at all these little tails back and forth. Looks like there's a bit more of a gap to fill. So if you're trading this sector, this looks all right. I'm not going to play this one today. I'm just saying I don't have to be in everything. I put out 30 to 40 charts, and it's your job to pick out which ones play into your game plan, which ones might give you a little bit of more, not say comfort, conviction to buy more and stay with, and that's how you make more money. CMG, that just split, right? It's this, some of these things, like look at this big bearish candle, and then kind of didn't take back more than half of it, so it didn't really shake it off or rebuild enough, and then continued lower. If you're in CMG now, it looks like, I guess, it's not where the action is, but you could be long versus, I guess, this spot, whatever that spot is. So if you want it to be long CMG, you could be long versus 60. So you want to try that as a trade. Okay, I don't know what it's doing this morning, but I'm just saying, so far, post split, it's not doing what a lot of people would have wanted. It's up 11 cents today. So anyway, it's been a big winner. You can't complain about CMG over the years at all. Crypto is probably one of my biggest losses in the second quarter. Why was crypto one of my biggest losses? And I'm going to be fully honest. When all the what's it called, the ETFs were coming out, it looked really good. It looked really tight. It looked ready to go. And I was trying to figure out how to buy options, and I was buying BITO options, and it just it fell at 71,000 like 3 different times. So I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to show you. I caught this move, which was great. And then I waited. I was loading up on options here. Didn't work. And then they had a bounce back here. I thought maybe in this wedge it would work. It didn't. Then I thought maybe this wedge was ready to go, and it didn't. And then it came all the way into here. So is this the fake out of all fake outs? And now is it ready just to go clean? I don't know. I'm not really a crypto guy. I do say you could buy Bitcoin every single month for the rest, and just like an S&P fund or like an asset allocation. Same thing with gold. I did have a huge run in crypto, like everyone else with all the altcoins. Had a great time. Turned like, I think 20,000 into almost 200,000 in my Coinbase account, and then, maybe lost a bunch of it as altcoins went down 99%. And since then, I'm like, you know what? I don't have all the time. I'm just going to trade Bitcoin here and there, and have a little bit in the longer term account. But anyway, that's that. Got wedgied a few times. That's what Mark Haynes once said to me when I was like, "There's a wedge on Wall Street." As a technician, wedge patterns do exist. And during the financial crisis, I was on with Mark Haynes and Aaron Burnett, and I was like showing the wedge on Wall Street, which is a pattern of indecision when it gets really, really tight when you're waiting for resolution. He's like, "So Scott, is this wedge on Wall Street going to give everyone a wedgie?" I'm like, "Come on, did you really say that on TV?" Palantir is beating what? Is that a technical term? Palantir is, I would say, giving a little upside follow through to Friday's strong close. But anyway, so here we are. Okay, I will say, the SPYs are a little overbought, and my biggest loss last week was which I didn't take. I was short the 552 calls as a hedge. I was like, okay, into this, when we weren't sure what was going to happen with this move, we weren't sure it was going to hold 542. I put on, some 552 calls. I sold them for like $1.50, and I'm still going to stay with it this week as a hedge. But everyone says, Red Dog, why don't you give more short plays? Why don't you? I'm like, every time I try and put on some puts as a hedge, or sometimes I sell premium pretty well, but it's been costing money. So until we're back below the 21-day and we stay below it in the SPYs or the Qs, I'm going to be looking for setups, and I'm going to be buying options a few weeks out just in case things trigger. I'm going to be trying to stick with the trend until the trend changes. And right now it's been very strong. Anybody who's been trying to buy the XLE, the IWM, and the XBI for more than a trade, they're pulling their hair out because they think they're so cute. And, I want to play the equal weight SPYs because I'm going to find that extra alpha. Well, that hasn't worked. And I'm not making fun of it because it sucks when it doesn't work. And there will be a time when maybe it does. But for now, stick with what's working. What's working is every few weeks, these mega cap techs that have liquidity, have great patterns of building bull flags, and they're going. So until they have that bearish engulfing candle and that controls the tape, I would continue to play that game. And, every now and then, kind of like what happened with the semis, we'll get overheated. Okay. Like there was a great semi-long trade. And then all of a sudden, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 days up on TV, 8 times an hour, just figured that it's now overheated, and then it turned into a rebuild stage, which will happen with some of the mega cap tech, and then we'll see if money kind of rotates. But for now, don't overthink it. Don't be the smartest guy in the room. Stick with the trends. Look for your setups. If you're a day early and then you're not in it the next day, take some options, go out a few weeks, pay some money, put on a call spread. So just in case you're worn out, like a lot of people got worn out in AMD and then didn't cash that trade. A lot of people got worn out in Meta, including me. I did not have Meta. And I was like, Red Dog, you talked about this breakout in Meta. You were waiting and waiting and waiting. You bought, said 510, 522. Well, I was on the road on Friday and I missed it. And my options that I've had for the past few weeks all expired last Friday. So I did not make money in this trade. And so everyone on Twitter got rich in this trade. For me, it didn't happen at the time frame I wanted it. So, again, no one's perfect. And there'll always be another one. So just look for it. All right, guys, it's Monday. Hopefully you have a great new week. And, I'll be touching base, posting some charts and in and out. Over the summer, sometimes it's 6:30 clubs Monday through Thursday. Sometimes it isn't. Like I'm not going to be here Thursday. I'm going to be in Atlantic City watching my son play basketball, trading from a laptop, and probably not have a 6:30 club because he's got his champions tournament this weekend. But anyway, I will be in Monday through Wednesday, and I'll have 2 interns with me tomorrow. Have a good day, guys.